Hello and welcome to the Story Engine podcast. My name is Kyle Gray, and today on the show we have Sean Stone. Sean is a master at helping brands scale and grow on Amazon. It's a very competitive, but one of the biggest marketplaces in the world. And anyone doing e-commerce should definitely be thinking about how to compete on Amazon. So today on the show, we're going to discover some of Sean's secrets and craft a story with him to reach more of his ideal clients. So without any further ado, let's hand it over to Sean Stone. Sean Stone, welcome to the Story Engine podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I am excited to dive into the world of Amazon businesses with you today. But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you're showing up in the world today?
Yeah. So my name's Sean Stone. I am a husband, a surfer, and a passionate e-commerce professional. And currently I do that by really focusing on Amazon because I think it's the most interesting platform e-commerce has ever seen. So yeah, that's who I am. And those are the main things that I consider myself.
Amazing. And I know that you mentioned being inspired to work in Amazon as a way to be able to work remote and travel and live and do that. You mentioned this before the recording, but I want to bring this in right now. Because that was one of my original ideas, or what got me into business, was wanting to be able to travel and work remote and have a freedom with that. So tell us a little bit about how that inspiration shaped what you do today.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty successful first career. I was a salesperson for a software company, or for a few different software companies. And there's a startup in Toronto I joined back in like 2014, or actually 2013. And over the course of about 3 years, I helped them grow from 30 employees to 170 employees. And so, pretty effective. But when they grew a little too much and then had some financial difficulties, they kind of just decided to unceremoniously fire me. And so I was kind of left there in a situation where I didn't necessarily need to rush into getting another job so I could make rent. And so I kind of took a step back and asked myself, like, what do I wish my life looked like? What do I want my day-to-day to look like? And at the time, the thing, I was 27 years old, all I could think about was seeing the world. I was like, I have not traveled outside of North America for more than 16 days. I want to get to 17 and see what that's like. And so I said, well, okay, but I'm not just going to like pointlessly, like just like burn money and not work. Like I feel like I have too much potential to not pursue something while I did this. And so I thought about it, and what I did was I just bought everyone I could think of dinner as a way of figuring out like who has a life and a job that I envy. Envy is maybe a little bit aggressive of a word, but let's call a spade a spade. There are people who were doing what I wanted to do. I was very influenced by the 4-hour work week. Not necessarily someone who wants to work 4 hours a week, but I like the time and location flexibility that they talked about in that book. And so I ended up meeting one guy who's still one of my very close friends to this day, who told me like, look, selling on Amazon is huge and it's going to get even bigger. And so, I talked to a bunch of other people who tried to hire me for sales jobs. And I said, look, it's not like, are you willing to let me work completely remote with full flexibility? And most of them said no. And the ones who said yes, I didn't want to sell their product anyway. So I kind of said, okay, I'm going to get into business for myself. And so that's kind of how I ended up selling on Amazon back in 2017, kind of before COVID and everything kind of made e-commerce explode. And back in 2019, I kind of shifted to being fully an advertising person, because while I was good at the general act of selling on Amazon, I was great at the ads, and I was not as solid at the inventory management that you have to do if you're selling on Amazon.
Yeah. Tell me some other qualities, like what lifestyle. You've said at least a little bit, time and location flexibility. That's nice. It's a growing marketplace. We've kind of hinted at, but what else? Why was this guy living a life that you admired, and what did that ultimately like facilitate for him? why did you decide the way this person's living, this is actually the choice?
He was someone who truly had time flexibility. He's the only person I met who could work whenever he wanted and not work whenever he wanted. That I'd never met anyone like that before. Like I'd met freelancers, I'd met people with products, I'd met people who kind of owned a business and so they could get away with not working that much. But he's the only person I'd ever met up to that point who truly worked hours that suited him, regardless of business. And just never met anyone like that. And it was just shocking at the time.
Yeah. And so now you're working with all kinds of people to create those same things. Can you describe the people that you're working with today and how you're helping facilitate these things for them?
Yeah. So what we do, like Stone's Goods is an Amazon advertising agency. And we've kind of gone through a bit of an evolution because what we realized is Amazon is the bottom of the funnel on the internet. It's part of why conversion rates are so ridiculously high. But part of our process is building up companies who kind of already sell between 2 million and 10 million a year on Amazon, building up their Amazon channel while also installing a profitable Shopify arm into their business so that we can then kind of skyrocket their success on Amazon. And so that's kind of the overall playbook that we run for our clients. So, but the people themselves, they are entrepreneurs, often very similar to the friend who got me into Amazon. They're highly analytical, really thoughtful people. Think about how can I create a product that serves others in the world? And so what they traditionally do is get really, really good about creating products people want to buy, and then get really, really good about handling the logistics and the operations to make that possible on the internet. And so they're usually really thoughtful, intelligent product people who kind of love being an entrepreneur and love products. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. What are their problems?
Well, their problems are a mile long. So
the top 3 that you specifically relate to.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like, do you want me to talk about the problems that only relate to me or all the problems? But yeah, the ones that relate to me are, one, basically Amazon profitability, because for a lot of them, Amazon is either their primary channel or their only channel. And so Amazon back in 2019, when I went full-time as an ads person, it was very easy to make a profit on Amazon. These days, there was a study that showed that the average Amazon seller pays more than 50% of their revenue to Amazon through fees, advertising costs, and all that kind of stuff. So I showed them how to get those numbers down and then also how to make that channel work for them. The second problem is even if their numbers work, Amazon's very confusing. It's so hard to figure out how to rank a product, how to get a product to show up to the top of the page and why, and then what to do about it once it gets there, how to keep it there, how to keep it making money for you. All that kind of stuff is requires deep knowledge that over the years we've been able to build up. Mm-hmm. And then the third biggest problem is insane Amazon dependence. They're so afraid that their entire business, imagine you had a $10 million a year business that has healthy profit margins. You put in years of your life and your heart and soul into these products to serve your customers. And you're one change away from Jeff Bezos on a whim from your business getting cut in half. I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen a lot. And so really it's how do we get off of the pure Amazon dependence that a lot of these businesses have? That's the third big thing we solve for them. And so it's
happened to me, not quite on as profoundly catastrophic of a level, but I understand everything you're saying as a self-published author, and I've thought about these things. And my third self-published book, my second self-published book, I did very well. And I figured out how to rank a product and keep it there for a long time and have good keywords. And there was a time where I could bend the rules a little bit and say, go to this free link, in my book description. But anyway, those times are over. And then on my third book, when I published it, I was ranking Amazon bestseller. uh, right away. And then about 5 days in, I started getting all these emails from people, and where I go to my Amazon page, and where it should be the name of my book by Kyle Gray, it says Bluetooth headphones ... And I reach out to Amazon customer service, and they're like, "We'll be with you in 4 to 6 business days." And I try calling them, and I try doing all of these things, and like the bookstore is like a drop. My book is a drop in the ocean of the Amazon bookstore, and the bookstore is a drop in the ocean of the whole Amazon product sphere. And even the Amazon e-commerce is but a drop in the ocean of the beast that is Amazon these days. And yeah, like I experienced that Amazon dependence, and like I invested a lot into a launch that just I wasn't really able to like turn that around that easily.
That
So I
breaks
know
my
what you
heart.
mean.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That is so brutal. And the worst part is that was a nefarious actor on the Amazon platform. And the fact that Amazon doesn't police that is another reason why I proactively try to get my clients off of Amazon dependence, is because that stuff like that is so hurtful to a small business. And back in the day, Amazon cared so much about this kind of stuff, and now it seems like they've just imported an army of people with MBAs who don't care at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm truly sorry to hear that, Kyle. That sucks.
It ultimately took like a month of attempting to reach out to customer service, and the only thing that I could do to change it was unpublish the book and then publish it again.
To be frank, that's what I would have recommended.
Yeah.
That's horrible though.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
so we have a good understanding of this. This is a really important thing. It could have been like any of the situations you described. They're way more exposed, and it's much worse. Another thing that you mentioned, Amazon is known, like I buy like smaller things on there, my books, my kind of cheaper products and services. And you mentioned going through the process of really like figuring out how to position yourself as a premium service in a sphere where Amazon is not quite like Walmart, but it's kind of close, where like I want to go to get the cheaper thing easy. And I imagine that like working in that sphere, it's challenging to position yourself as a premium service. How have you done that, and how have you done that for the clients that you've worked with to really get them to stand out and you to stand out?
So positioning myself as a premium service, I'm still working on it. I think what usually leads to me being a premium service is somebody recommends me to somebody else, and that's kind of how that's how they know I'm a premium service, is because somebody else got insane results from working with us. But how do I position my clients as a premium service? That is a question that I have a very clear answer to. The answer is offer construction. And so what we often will look at is, what is this product and how is it different in the marketplace? If it's the exact same thing as everybody else, I don't necessarily have a great answer for you on how to make it appear premium, but I do have a premium products marketing playbook we can implement on it to kind of build up its brand reputation outside of Amazon. So I guess the quick answer is, if you have a unique differentiated product, there is a bunch of things we can do on the Amazon platform. If you have an undifferentiated product, the main thing we do is build up your brand outside of the Amazon platform. And then regardless of which type of situation it is, the principles are the same. Build up a name for the product, build up a very clear, well-designed listing that will kind of show off the reasons why you should buy this one, and then use advertising and conversion rate optimization tactics to make sure that you show up at the top of the page and you bring the most value to the marketplace, so that Amazon sees your product as the one that needs to be at the top of the page because people want to buy it.
And then somehow some kind of jujitsu happens where once my Amazon page is humming, I want to make sure that I bring that traffic back over to my own domain or site. Or how do we create the independence in this case?
We have a framework where it's called spillover commerce. And really there are three things you need. One is you need Amazon product market fit. Two, you need something called meta market fit. And then three is you need what we call platform specific offers. So Amazon product market fit, if you're a $2 to $10 million business, you already got it. Meta product market fit or meta market fit means you've got to have at least one competitor who is advertising similar products on the Meta platform and appears to be successful. Unique offers, platform specific offers is you got to have a offer for Shopify that is different and better for a subsection of shoppers than just going to Amazon. So you kind of already touched on this, but I'm going to add some numbers to the context. There's over 100 million shoppers on Amazon US. On Amazon Prime in the United States. So there's over 100 million shoppers on Amazon Prime in the United States, and those people see an advertisement for your product. A big portion of them are going to, no matter what, just buy your product on Amazon if they want it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a subsection of the shoppers in the United States who want to support small businesses, who care about getting a better price no matter what, who don't subscribe to Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's somewhere between 100 and 180 million people, but that's still, if there's 300 million people, there's at least 100 million people in Amazon who don't go on Amazon Prime. So the playbook is having something really good on your website that's a great option for them, and you can reach them with meta ads, and then having a different but great offer on Amazon that they can go to Amazon and buy instead. So
I have my right-handed scissors on Amazon that most people want, and that's cooking. And then I have my premium left-handed scissors on my Shopify site that are the same, but they're fancier.
So I would put it more like this. If I would have a pair of right-handed scissors on Amazon and a pair of left-handed scissors on Amazon, and then I would have
the really nice ones on my Shopify site.
Of course.
The Japanese steel scissors.
Yeah, you would have the upper end ones. You would also have combo packs of right and left that you can buy together for less than the cost of each individually on Amazon. So you have unique offers, and you also have different offers. So you can't be directly price compared. And when you do directly price compare, your website looks like a better option than Amazon.
Okay, that makes sense. Very cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of companies you can look at who are doing this. They're big, like Grooms, the gummy bear company, or Hatch, the maternity nightlight. There are a lot of companies that already run this playbook. And I would say that it's definitely going to be the future, because Hatch is outperforming Amazon Echo, which is an Amazon product. Hatch is the best seller on Amazon, and Amazon Echo, which is a third of the price, is 5th place on Amazon. So you can outcompete Jeff at his own game by playing by your own rules. And I thought that's something that's really compelling for a lot of small business owners.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me about, like, down the road, some of the results that you promise. Again, it's time and work flexibility, I imagine, or something like that. What are some of the other outcomes that you're creating for your clients that are very typical to see, or that you're really most proud to showcase?
I mean, the one that we are pretty certain about is that almost any company we work with, we can get them a 20% profit improvement in the first 90 days of working with us. And that's just because unless you're running best in class everything, there's just so much low hanging fruit inside of the average Amazon account. And then the other thing that we promise is, channel independence. Installing a Shopify channel on top of an Amazon brand is just so unbelievable.
But what does that really mean? Like, I know we've been talking about it, but like, channel independence is still, it's like very, it makes sense to you, but like to me as the business owner.
Yeah. So maybe I'm using too much jargon. If you're a business owner and all your revenue is coming through Amazon, Amazon can randomly decide to stop your payment. And you can go on the internet and read thousands of stories where this happened. But if you have a Shopify channel that maybe in the beginning it's only making you 10% of your profits compared to the 90% coming from Amazon, if Amazon turns off your profits, you're not down 100%, you're down 90%. And while that seems bad, you can grow that 10% to be something. And that's really what I mean is
it's a peace
and
of
that's the
mind,
beginning.
stability, adaptability, security.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's much better. Yeah.
So I'm curious, Sean, in your own times, when you have maybe had your own experience early on of having Amazon be the only channel, and you were really in a lot of trouble as a business. Maybe like you've been in this for a little while, and it was easier to make a profit back then. Now it's like a lot harder, and you've maybe experienced the limitations of that or something like that before. Navigating a confusing, huge, somewhat indifferent marketplace. When have you felt these same things that your clients experience?
I think in the first year of selling on Amazon, I felt a lot of these things. And one of the ways that I got past it was by getting really curious.
Nope, we're not talking about getting past it. We're talking
Okay.
about feeling
When
it.
I felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've definitely felt it when I've felt these feelings a few times, and it's always when I get into a new space. So when I first got into software sales, I felt very confused, and there were like no one was really willing to tell you what they did on a day-to-day basis. Everyone did something different. There is no standardization. And then the same is true when I got into the Amazon space. You know, like there's 100 different ways to be successful, and no one really explained why they were being, or like what made them successful or why.
And this was kind of you working from home for the first time too. So were you in your like first home office sitting by yourself thinking, what am I supposed to be doing right now?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was so confusing to try to work for yourself when you're so used to sitting around other people and talking all day.
Describe the room that you sit in.
So the thing is, I constantly moved when I got started. So I was sitting in different rooms constantly, and I'm sure that probably didn't help. But I was in different hostels. I was in different Airbnbs. I was in different countries for a big portion of it. And so I was just all over the place.
Was there one time? Good. This is good then. Then there's probably a really specific time where you felt this particularly acutely, and you were in a very specific place. You're like, man, when I was passing through Belfast, things went really bad, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
Yep. It was Prague, Czech Republic. And I was sitting on a brown wooden bench in a little hallway inside of a giant mansion that was they turned into a co-working space. So like picture a Victorian mansion on a huge property that you would think would be in like Bridgerton or something, or whatever the Czech version of Bridgerton would be. And I'm sitting there talking to this consultant on the phone about how Amazon restricts products and what I can do to convince them that my product should not be restricted. And oh my goodness, that was one of the most confusing times of my life.
So was this like trying to make a sale for this person where or this was already a client? Like what was happening?
So this is before I went full-time on advertising. And I basically had Amazon remove one of my products for compliance reasons. So they looked at my product and said, this product's not compliant with Amazon's terms of service, so we're going to remove it. And
you were trying to get your product, back online.
Yeah, I was trying to get my product back online, and I was very afraid because I had thousands of dollars and months of work tied up in this product.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, I like that you were traveling a lot. Did you also you found systems to make this work? How did your traveling and movement? Did you ultimately like find a base to orbit around, or how did that change?
I kept traveling a long time. So I started in 2017, and I went until COVID in 2020. Yeah. And then my wife, well, then girlfriend, now wife, and I went back on the road back in 2021, and we continued traveling some more until we got married in September of 2021. So I
Did you
kind of
get
built.
married in a crazy location?
We got married in just outside of Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
but we got engaged in Lisbon, Portugal, at the westernmost part of Europe. If anyone listening to this has ever been there, it's pretty cool. It's a beautiful place.
There's a very specific part. You're not talking about Lisbon in general. Is there a specific spot in the city that you're talking about?
Yeah, so it's outside the city. It's actually closer to Sintra,
I know
and it
Sintra,
is.
the Masonic initiation. Well, there's some crazy things like, if anybody knows like Gaudi architecture of Barcelona, something like that,
Mhm.
in this very strange environment. Anyway, please go on. Describe this environment to us.
Yeah, so it's a really, really beautiful cliff that probably falls 150, 200 feet. And it's, the westernmost point of continental Europe. And there's like all kinds of signage around that and that kind of stuff. The sea is right there, but the weather is really warm and beautiful. And it was a beautiful September day. We'd been driving around in these like they're kind of like Jeeps, but the Portuguese version of them that don't have any roof. With some of our closest friends we've been traveling with, and yeah, at the kind of crescendo of the day, like kind of the peak, I dropped to one knee and proposed to my wife, and obviously she said yes. And then yeah, we kind of drove around on the rest of the day, uh, like on cloud nine because we we're engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sean, would you like to hear your story?
yeah, please.
I got into the world of Amazon to create freedom and of time and possibilities and location for me. And when I first entered into this business, I was traveling everywhere, all over the world. And at first it was easy. At first I was figuring things out, but I encountered a problem that immediately sucked away most of that freedom. I remember coming into Prague, being excited, one more city, one new place. Money was, before this, flowing in easily enough, but now my biggest product is taken off the marketplace, and I'm trying to write emails, I'm trying to call people, I'm trying to make a case why this product deserves to still be back on because it's my main lifeblood. It's been supporting me forever, and everything seemed fine. But one morning I wake up and all of the money that I'm depending on is now gone. And I can't seem to reach anybody who cares or has any ability to help me with this. And it feels silly in this moment being so far away from anyone I know, any communities I know, anywhere safe, and so vulnerable and dependent. And I realized in this moment that even though I knew how to be successful in Amazon, I needed something, a system, a process that was deeper. And so I started to build something different. I wanted something that would allow me to really have true time flexibility to work whenever I wanted and not work whenever I wanted. I wanted a product that could be successful on Amazon, but be the entry point to a bigger business that's stable and predictable and protected no matter what happens in the Amazon ecosystem. That's easy to advertise and grow predictably. And over the course of a few years and a lot of costly and painful mistakes with a lot of products of my own and a lot of products of those that I've worked with, I've really found a formula that can make great products stand out, profit more, and transform the lives of the businesses that sell them. And I'm here to tell you about that today.
Wow, that is excellent. That's
Thank
quite
you.
good. Yeah, I can see. I can see why you're a pro.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that is a pretty compelling message, and it is put much better than I've been able to do it up until this point.
Well, good. That's what we're here for. And I'm glad
Nice,
we get to showcase you on this show. So
nice.
to close things up, now that you've gotten to experience that and we've gotten to know you, do you have any closing thoughts for us, and where can we go to learn more about you?
Yeah. Closing thoughts. Um, More than anything, I'm just truly impressed right now. Like that was really cool. That was a really, really well thought out explanation of where I'm at now and how I got here. And you can find me at stonesgoods.com, stones plural, goods plural.com. or you can find me, Sean Stone, on LinkedIn or a bunch of other places. But yeah, I'm easy to find and I'm friendly. So drop me a message.
Amazing. Sean Stone, thank you so much for joining us on the Story Engine podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.